Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. We are going to hold space and give more people time to join, and we'll be starting a little after the hour. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Foster's Club's Up Chafee Challenge and Take Action webinar. I want to first thank you for attending. I'm going to introduce myself and my team. My name is Dominique Freeman.
My name is Jaleesa Sewell.
And my name is Angel Petit.
And we represent Foster's Club's policy team. We organized this webinar because we recognize how the COVID-19 crisis has directly and largely impacted the lives of current and former foster youth. We know that there are so many young people facing challenges with housing, education, employment, and more. We recognize how scary this time is for you, but want to thank you for joining us to learn about the things that you can do in order to take action. So let's get right to it. In our webinar today, we will be covering an overview of Chafee, why Chafee funds are important to foster youth and alumni, what we are hearing on the ground from young people, the importance of elevating youth voices, and how you can get involved with our call to action. Before we get started, we would like to ask that you please place your microphones on mute throughout the presentation. We will be holding spaces for questions at the end. Also want to let you know that there is a chat box on the side of your screen, so feel free to place your questions in there until the end.
So, what is Chafee, you might ask? Chafee is federal funding provided to states, territories, and Indian tribes to support current and former foster youth. In many states, these services are under independent living skills programs. States use Chafee funding to provide educational assistance, career exploration, mentoring, and youth development activities, such as funding youth to go to youth conferences. States may use Chafee funding to provide room or board and food for youth who attend institutions of higher education. The Chafee program also includes the ETV voucher program, or Chafee and Training Education vouchers.
And Jay, before you keep going, it looks like the PowerPoint isn't moving on this side. Would you mind just forwarding the slides?
Do you see them now?
Looks like it's still stuck on the first one.
Excuse me.
Perfect. Good to go.
Why is Chafee important during the COVID crisis? Dominique?
Chafee is important during the COVID crisis because of the direct and immediate support it can provide to youth who do not have the financial resources or family support to survive this uncertain time. Chafee can act as a buffer to make sure the hard work, progress, and sacrifices foster youth and alumni have made to attend college, obtain employment, secure housing, start a savings, and so much more is not lost or undone. Increasing Chafee funds would allow states to exercise flexibility and expand the use so that Chafee funds can be utilized for services and supports like emergency housing for everyone who has had to evacuate from their dorms, youth who may be left homeless in this crisis without food, can be used to provide financial assistance directly to young people because you may not have access or be eligible for what is provided to all Americans in the current stimulus package.
So, what's the problem? The COVID-19 crisis endangers young people transitioning from foster care to adulthood, especially if they don't have support to turn to or have yet to develop permanency. Chafee funding was already stretched thin before the crisis, and the $2 trillion stimulus package recently released by the federal government, many needs of foster youth weren't addressed. Foster Club conducted a survey to get an understanding of how young people are being affected by this crisis. Based on the information gathered, 27.6% described their home as having a food crisis or being very low on food. 39.6 indicated they had been forced to move or fear being forced to move. 22.6% said they wish they had connections with people to help them through the crisis. 14.3 indicated they are on their own. 27.1% have been laid off because of the crisis, and another 39.6% have had their hours dramatically decreased. 18.0% indicated that they are in a crisis, and another 32.8% have a week or less of money available. So, what does that mean, Dominique?
So, why does all of this matter? It matters because this is the time to act, the time to shape what the child welfare system can be and how it should treat families, children, and youth. This is the opportunity to make sure your voices are heard and your future is not at risk. The time to make sure the needs of foster youth and alumni are not left out of the next stimulus package passed by Congress. It's the time to come together, the time to be seen, and the time to be heard. This matters to protect the livelihood of foster youth and alumni around the world. So here's what you can do to take action. We are encouraging you to take action for the next 10 days, starting Wednesday, April 1st to Friday, April 10th, by sending daily messages to your member or members of Congress to increase Chafee funds to $500 million so foster youth and alumni can have emergency aid during this crisis. The first step is finding your member of Congress. You can do that by going to the following website on the screen. Once you have who you are sending your messages to, there are several ways you can reach your member. The first way, send a tweet to each of your members of Congress, and be sure to include the following hashtags. Hashtag support foster youth, hashtag COVID-19, hashtag up Chafee. Make sure you tag your policymaker. Tell them where you're from and include your city and state. On the screen, you can see an example. At Congressperson, I'm from, enter your state and district, and the COVID-19 crisis has hit young people transitioning from foster care to college and adulthood especially hard. Dorms have closed, causing housing instability, and some support agencies have closed or reduced services. Hashtag up Chafee, hashtag support foster youth, hashtag child welfare COVID. This tweet highlights the problem and the need for support. The second way you can contact your member is through Facebook. On Facebook, search for your Congress member and tag them or write a message directly on their page. Make it personal. This is a chance to include your own personal experiences and or what you are hearing from your friends, siblings, and other young people. We have provided another example. My dorm gave 2 days to clear out. I didn't have anywhere to go, so I'm couch surfing. Hashtag up Chafee, hashtag support foster youth, hashtag child welfare COVID. The last way is you can send an email. The best way to reach your members of Congress and their staff right now, since most of them are not working from Capitol Hill, is through an online contact form that sends an email. Go to the website on the screen, democracy.io, enter your address, and the website will pull up your 2 senators and your members from the House of Representatives. You will enter a message like this. Youth who age out of foster care work tirelessly to make it to college, gain employment, and to secure housing. Without support now, their progress in beating the odds could be derailed by hashtag COVID-19, hashtag child welfare COVID, hashtag up Chafee. So our call to action is simple. Send messages to your members of Congress that tell your stories, that reflect your new reality caused by COVID-19. Messages that encourage Congress to act now and to act in the interest of foster youth and alumni. The more messages you send, the better. So I'm going to go through the challenge one more time. The Up Chafee Take Action Challenge starts Wednesday, April 1st to Friday, April 10th. The challenge is to send daily messages to your Congress member. We will have a Google form on Foster Club's Take Action webpage that you fill out every time you take an action. Once you complete the form, you are entered into a daily drawing. Every day of this challenge, we will raffle a total of 5 cash prizes. 4 people will receive $25, and 1 person will receive $100 for the next 10 days. Make sure in your messages to include the hashtag UpChafee.
After this learning session, we are going to send out a recording of the webinar and the slides and a template of example messages that you can send out. Also, you can enter the daily drawing by telling us how you took action by completing the Take Action questionnaire on the Foster Club website. I'm going to hand it over to Angel so that she can walk you through the website.
Great, thank you, Jay. I'm gonna just try to figure out how to get the right screen up here. Okay, so we want to show folks all of this information, of course, like both Dominique and Jay said, is recorded and will be sent out following the webinar. And we also wanted to make sure it was in one place where you can go to on Foster Club's website and find all of these details and all of the language and links and everything that you would need to be able to take action. So this is on the Foster Club website. You just go to fosterclub.org/up Chafee, Chafee. And you can see that this page starts with just an overview of the challenge, like we've already talked through. It provides you a reminder of the daily drawing. And so each day we would ask that you tell us how you're taking action if you decide to take action. And this form right here will show you is how you will be entered into the drawing for the actions that you took. So I'll come back and show you that form. But we want to also show you that there's some space to review what this means. How are you taking action? There's some links over here under the how do you send a message, just like Dominique just walked you through. And we also have a calendar down here. So we're having a theme for each of the 10-day challenge and a meme that you can share, which includes some quotes from young people across the country who have responded to Foster Club's poll, and also some of the results that Jay shared with you earlier. So the other piece of the website has some messages here. If it's easier to just copy and paste a message and add your own theming or what you would like to share personally, you can do that from this message library. And then we also have the meme library down at the bottom where you can download and share any of these memes to your member of Congress and along with your message. So before I turn it back to Jay, I will just show you all, if this link works, the form. Oops. I will pull up that link in just a second here, but I will show you what the form looks like so that you can see what you fill out. So this form starts with just a reminder of what the campaign is, reminds you to tell us the name of your two senators, the name of your representative, asks you to tell us what did you do for the campaign. Did you send a tweet? Did you Facebook? Did you email? And then we ask you to let us know and give us a copy of your message. So if you tweeted, to give us a copy of that message, if you sent a message on Facebook, and if you emailed, and to include your social media link profiles or handles so that we can be as Foster Club and as other national advocates really recirculating and elevating what you are telling your congressional members and making sure that they're hearing it and we're making a lot of noise. Then the pieces that we also ask you to fill out here are your first name, your last name, your email, your phone, your state, and your zip code. And that's just information so we can get in touch with you if we have questions and also if you win the drawing. And then it has some details on what the prizes are. So again, that is on the website, which is fosterclub.org/upchafee. And so we want to make sure that we'll be sending this out following the webinar, but wanted to give folks a sneak peek so you would feel a little bit familiar and maybe be able to ask questions if you have it. So that's what I have, Jay. I will turn it back to you.
Yes, Angel, thank you. Just remember, Foster Club is here to help. If you have any questions or trouble locating your members of Congress or need help writing your messages, please contact us at policy@fosterclub.org. If you're looking for COVID-19 resources, our website is fosterclub.org/C19, and we can be contacted by email or phone. So now we're going to open it up to questions and concerns.
Perfect. Thanks, Jay. And it'll take us just a second if folks have submitted questions. We are dealing with a couple technical issues here, so give us just a moment and then we will be pulling up your question. Okay, so it looks like we have, so the question is, you can either go to, there's a question about whether you can go to fosterclub.org or fosterclub.com, and you can go to either. That will direct you to the same website. Seeing some thank yous, liking the memes. There's a question about why college students are not receiving ETV scholarships as checks in the mail. Looks like they are sent directly to the college, which is limiting the amount that students can receive based on the estimated cost of attendance. I know many students have been negatively impacted. Courtney shared. So I can give a little bit of information I have and then invite my team members to respond. So Courtney, to be honest, I'm not sure about the specifics of that. I know sometimes that may depend on how the state is facilitating that. We'd be happy to connect offline and help figure out the answer to your question, but I don't know that we have an answer, Jay or Dominique, unless you do at this point in time about why those aren't received directly to the student at this time. So we have another question about if funds are granted, do we have ideas on how the funds will be dispersed in order to help youth? We do have some ideas that it would be distributed to states who can use it through their existing Chafee programs. And like Jay ran through earlier, kind of in some of the same ways that Chafee programs are operating already, with a potential for some more funding. What we also know is if this Up Chafee campaign is successful, it'll be really important to have young people in their states and at the table and helping as the state decides how that disbursement is used, so that young people can help elevate where those needs are within the community. Jay or Dominique, is there any other piece you want to add to that question about if funds are granted, how they'll be dispersed in order to help youth?
No, I do not. You covered it.
Great, so I'll pose the next question to both of you. Can we encourage our own state child welfare agency youth councils to participate in the Up Chafee campaign?
Yes, you can.
Yes,
You can share the information that we just presented with you today, direct them to the fosterclub.com Up Chafee Take Action page, and they can participate.
Awesome. So we have another question about copies of the PowerPoint. Can someone have a copy of the PowerPoint?
Yes, we'll be sending out the PowerPoint slides, the recordings, a message template, I'm sorry, and the link to the Take Action page after the webinar.
Awesome, thank you. And we had another question about if you're allowed to screenshot the slides, please feel free to. And again, they'll be sent out following the webinar, so you'll have access to them too. Looks like we have some questions that said, thank you so much for the helpful presentation. Two follow-up questions. One, as we're all aware, the Family First Prevention Services Act mandates significant reduction in congregate care. With this in mind, what do you believe are the concrete challenges in advocating for increasing Chafee funding in light of an overall mandate to reduce young people in congregate care? And what are the risks and opportunity of a laser-focused advocacy to increase Chafee funding in light of this Family First legislative priorities? So I can start with that answer and turn it to Jay and Dominique to add if I've missed anything. So while Up Chafee is one of the pieces that Foster Club is focusing on, we are working with other national advocates who are pushing some larger asks that would be along the child welfare continuum, along that prevention, that response to support individuals and families currently in care, and the support on the kind of post-care side. So well, that's not the focus of today's webinar. We are part of and can share the details of that larger campaign following the webinar so that folks can take a look and see, recognizing that many young leaders across the country supported Family First Prevention Services Act, and that's still a big piece of work that Foster Club is contributing to and young leaders are contributing to. And so see this as hopefully something that would complement and not necessarily take away, but it's definitely really critical, Tara, to be aware of the full landscape and how this plays into that. Dominique or Jay, is there anything you would want to add there?
No, I think you covered it.
Great. And so let's see, there's a couple of thank yous. Will this presentation be shared so we can engage youth who are not on this call? Looks like we covered that. We got a hello from Texas from Vivian. Who is eligible for prizes through the drawing? Is it providers or young people? So we're focusing this advocacy on young people who have lived experience in foster care. Appreciate that question. Let's see, is there still time? We have a question about, is it still time to join the campaign? Jay or Dominique, you want to talk about that?
Yes, there is time. We are starting and launching the campaign tomorrow. It will run from 10 days. So Wednesday, April 1st through Friday, April 10th.
Perfect. And we had a question about how many youth were surveyed in those poll results that Jay shared earlier. So those results are part of a bigger segment of polling, but those results are from 172 transition age youth, age 18 to 24. We also have a question about whether there's a point person in each state and if we're looking for people to lead initiatives in each state. I'm happy to answer that and then turn it to Jay and Dominique for anything else. We are running this as a national campaign, but definitely recognize the role of state organizations. So would love if there are folks who are interested in leading and mobilizing young people in your state. If you want to get in touch with us, again, our email is on the screen, policy@fosterclub.com. Please do so. We would love to have you and young leaders in your state engaged. So it looks like we have a question about whether Foster Club or other similar organizations offer any immediate financial support to foster youth. Jay or Dominique, do you want to take that? Or you want me to take that one?
So I can take that. Foster Club does not provide immediate support, but we do have a COVID-19 resource page. So if there are resources there that can help you during this crisis, and we will be providing, like we said, the compensation for those who participate in the Chafee Challenge.
Perfect. Thanks, Dominique. And we also, what I would also add is we do have on the webpage that Dominique just mentioned, we do have a list of foster specific resources, and our team is available. Again, if you look on the screen right now, the fosterclub.org/C19, that has a list of resources, and our team is available at help@fosterclub.com to help connect to some of those resources. But again, as we mentioned, Foster Club doesn't provide direct support at this time, but we do work to connect to existing resources and referrals, and work when we ask young leaders to mobilize, that there's opportunities for compensation through the survey, or through the, excuse me, the form in the drawing. So it looks like we had some questions about how to help others who don't receive Chafee. Dominique or Jay, do you want to take that?
Okay, I can take that.
Great.
But like Angel mentioned earlier, Up Chafee is just one part of the initiative that we are doing to increase support for foster youth during this crisis. So we can share some of the other initiatives that we are doing that we hope to apply to youth who do not receive Chafee funds.
Great, thanks. So then we also had a question, if someone does all three methods, so if they tweet, they Facebook, and they email, does that mean they get entered more than once into the drawing?
Yes, taking multiple actions does increase your chances of being entered multiple times into the drawing.
Perfect. And then we have a question about if it's something we can invite non-youth or alumni of CARE to join. So for example, can we ask our friends and family to reach out to their congressperson and increase awareness of this issue?
Absolutely. The more, the better. We really would like everyone to get involved. So the more people, the more members of Congress are hearing from us, the better.
Awesome. Thanks, Dominique. So I'm just scrolling through some questions here, and it looks like there are some that we've already answered. And let's see, I'm just trying to see if there are funds. There's a question about funds or resources available for current or former foster youth in the state of Hawaii. Again, I would point folks, I don't know that we have all, we're kind of working to gather the state specific resources connected to COVID, and we'll be posting them as we have them. If you know of those resources, please share them with us. We'd love to be highlighting them. Would encourage you to take a look at the website and see. I don't remember that there are any Hawaii specific resources at this point, but please also feel free to give us a call or send us an email, and we would be happy to help navigate that if that's something that you are looking for. We also had a question about if you're going to participate in the challenge, can you make up your own messages? Do you have to use the messages that we shared? And I'll answer that, and then you do not have to use the messages that Foster Club has created. We hope to create them as a template and some tools that make it easier and quicker for you to be able to share your experiences and what you would like your member of Congress to know. You are able to share your own messages and share in a way that makes your member of Congress aware of how you are being impacted or how your peers are being impacted. So we would encourage you to do so.
I would just add that when you share your own message, to make sure that you are using the hashtags. So that's hashtag Chafee, hashtag Child Welfare COVID, hashtag support foster youth.
Awesome. Thank you, Dominique. We also have a question. Someone has a friend who's a pretty big social media influencer. Can we share this information with her so she can share to her followers?
Yes, that is a great idea. We would love for you to share our message with your friend that's a social media influencer and to get more youth involved.
Awesome. Okay, so it sounds like people are looking to take, excited to take some action and looking to Some folks who are providers or working with youth are looking to share it with their young people. So there was a question about whether providers fill out the form. So we'd encourage actually young people to fill out the form. Of course, if young people need some assistance in completing that, would know that providers often step up to be supportive in that way. We have a question about where to email if they're going to be listed as a state resource. And so again, that would be emailing that help@fosterclub.com. And the other question that we have is around folks who can enter the to receive the prizes. So we are so we will be looking for young people to be entering the drawing in the challenge. Sorry, my words are getting mixed up. Looking for young people, looking to mobilize young people with lived experience to be taking these actions, of course, encouraging other supportive folks around young people as well to be taking those actions, but would be looking primarily to have young people entering the drawing. Again, recognizing some of the challenges that were raised earlier about what young people are facing right now. And it looks like those are the main questions that we had. If we didn't answer your question, we can follow up with you after the webinar. Apologies, some of the questions were not coming through live, and so we took us a minute to scroll through that. But before we wrap up, I'll turn it back to Jay and Dominique and see if there's anything else.
We just want to encourage you to get involved. Again, our goal is to be heard. I would just say get pumped up and let's go viral. If you have any other questions or concerns, feel free to email us at help@fosterclub.com. That is all for today. So thank you so much for engaging with us. We really appreciate you.
Thanks, everyone.